Hey guys, before I begin, you're probably wondering why the last video said part 1 and why this is a part 2. Um, yeah, I'll get into that. And see, I was doing the review and I was almost just about finished with it. I was just gonna recap the last of, um, Hellboy Blood and Iron, and then when I came back here to complain about something that the film did, um, the camera, well, cell phone camera that I use, froze up because I kept pausing it, going back and forth, back and forth. So that's the reason why it's a two-parter. You guys get a bonus video out of this, so I'm just gonna count it as one video though. But I guess like old school YouTube, you guys are getting a two-parter because of my mistake, so you guys can be happy about that. Um, but it was my fault. I shouldn't have kept pausing it in between here and there, which kind of sucks about using 10-second clip because sometimes it happens, and either sometimes I have to upload the video as is or delete it and redo it. But I'm gonna get back into it. I just wanted to let you guys know it was my mistake, not yours. Um, so we're gonna get back into it where I left off, and please enjoy part 2. Give it some love. Share both videos if you can, like both part 1 and part 2, so people know what they're getting into. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Which now I'm just saying this as I'm pre-recording this. I'm gonna have to go back and put part 1 and part 2 on the thumbnails now. So that's fun. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please still share, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, please enjoy part 2 of the same video. So enjoy. Now, here's where the film loses me, is the fact that they involved Hecate or Hecate, however you pronounce her name, the goddess of death. I don't know for what religion Hecate is a part of. I think it's European, but I do know that she is the goddess of, I believe, death. Here's the thing that bothers me with this fact. Is that I know that Hellboy deals with gods and monsters and mythology and everything, but I was just hoping that this would have been just a simple, common phrase, turn of the mill Hellboy movie, until the fact that they involved Hecate or Hecate in this, and it's like, so you just lose your film by that point. I admit it's a nice turn of event of like just a simple vampire story, and was like, I don't want this to be a simple vampire story, so how can I turn this around? I got it. Let's have Hellboy meet the one of the goddesses of death, Hecate. You gotta give the film some credit. It does work. Hellboy meeting up with the goddess of death herself. I mean, it does count for something here, now doesn't it? So Hellboy gets into a fight with Hecate. She actually manages to pin one over on him because she's a giant statue of, like, herself, I believe it is, actually, in this film. As Hellboy had no way at first to defeat her until he realizes that she is actually weak against the sun, and so Hellboy decides that she needs a little bit of some vitamin D. I love one of the jokes in here where he runs upstairs and he's like, aha, now I got her. And he pulls a blanket off the wall and there is absolutely nothing behind the wall like he was hoping.
Stop this. Your destiny is overrated.
I do love that scene, by the way, where he's like, have some sunlight. Ah, shit, there's no sun behind us. And then he just punches his own window into the wall. Like, that I like that because he went for the typical gag of some people, sometimes they do it, they hang a blanket on the window to kind of like keep out the sun if they don't have blinds. And it does work to a point, or sometimes in some houses that don't have well heating, it kind of helps keeps it insulated. So it does work to the aesthetic of that. But then he just punches the hole through the window, and I'm like, okay, alright, I would bet that was a pretty badass scene that you just showed me. And so the goddess of Hecate or Hecate has finally died thanks to the morning sun that vanquished her, but then Hellboy actually opens up the corpse to release out the snake. We also get a flashback, we get some of them in these movies, back to when Hellboy was actually adopted by Professor Trevor Broom, and also the mythology behind him of being an Rama. I like the ending of this film when Hellboy is in his room and he looks up at his father. His father looks back at him. They both smile, basically sharing a nice moment, and the movie ends. Hellboy Sword of Storms is kind of the lesser one of the bunch, in my opinion. Like, I see what they're trying to do with the film, but it still doesn't make it any less good, if you know what I'm saying. So, like, if the film was more about Hellboy traveling back to Japan, I think the film would have worked better in execution than they wanted it to. But having it flash back and forth between Hellboy and between Abe and Liz in current times and Hellboy back in the past trying to solve this mystery, it just doesn't really work in my opinion. Like, I think that if you had the film mostly be set in ancient Japan and Hellboy trying to solve the mystery of everything without possibly summoning back the gods of thunder and lightning of Japanese mythology, it would have worked to a point, but then, everything else kind of like throws the movie off a little bit more. Blood and Iron, in my opinion, is the better of the bunch. It's a great, like, old school horror movie with something new kind of brought into the mix, which I do like. And especially, I know that I was kind of complaining about the twist with Hellcat. It does work if you stop and think about it, but I'm just nitpicking because it's like, you could have done this great, old school vampire kind of monster movie mix, but then you throw something new into the mixture, and I do enjoy the film, I do. But just that twist with me is like, really? Like, that's what you're going with? Alright, well, I can abide by it, I suppose, and I guess. So, both of these films are going to get a different Funko Pop rating. Hellboy Sword of Storms is, from me at least, it's going to get a Funko Pop rating of an Inuyasha. It did blow me away to a point, but it keeps blowing me into a repetitive thud every now and again because they keep bringing it back from the beautiful ancient Japan into modern day, and they just keep hitting you in the head repeatedly by having you flash back and forth. I would do a Nightcrawler, but the plot is not all over the place, so thank God for that one. But and then with Hellboy Blood and Iron, I'm gonna give it my Funko Pop rating of a Ms. Marvel. It is something marvelous, and there is something to be noticed in there. But sometimes, even when you look at it, you can see some flaws in its design, but still a marvelous film nonetheless. So Hellboy Sword of Storms is going to get my Funko Pop rating of an Inuyasha, and Hellboy Blood and Iron is getting my Funko Pop rating of a Ms. Marvel.
We're the ones who bump back. They are the ones who bump back.
Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me at Twitter with a link in the description down below. I believe Universe, I've been waiting nerdy, and tell me what you think about Hellboy Animated Sword of Storms or Blood and Iron in the comment section down below, and tell me which one is your favorite. Do you prefer Sword of Storms or do you prefer Blood and Iron? Let me know. Personally, I prefer Blood and Iron more over Sword of Storms. But thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, take care, and as always, keep your kin on. Later.